Hello and welcome to Mutual Fund Sahi Hai presents Smart Nivesh Sahi Nivesh, partnered by Times Network. My name is Sumit Lakhotia, and today on our special goal setting episode series, we're looking at estate planning. Now, this is actually a very important part of the overall financial planning, but it is very often overlooked because sometimes people feel that, what's the hurry? Estate planning is, well, after I pass away, what's the requirement now? I might not have enough assets to worry about estate planning, and well, why do I need it? I've got nominees in my financial assets. So today we're going to clear the air about that, and we're going to look at both the financial aspect. How do you create investment corpus for estate planning, and also how do you manage that and streamline that investment corpus? I'm joined by two experts on the show. Allow me to introduce them. First up, we have Renu Maheshwari. She's the CEO and Principal Advisor at FinScholars Wealth Managers LLP. And we also have with us Jatin Popat. He's the founder of willgenie.com. Renu ma'am, Jatin sir, thank you so much for joining me here today. Renu ma'am, I'll start with you. Now, in my introduction, I was talking about how you have to create that investment corpus also for estate planning. Your thoughts on how mutual funds can play a role for this, for growing this corpus, which is actually a long-term goal. So how can mutual funds help in that?
See, mutual funds is a wonderful tool for the masses to build up wealth for themselves and their loved ones. A lot of times what happens is when people decide, and we are doing that for our clients as well, when people decide that they want to leave a certain amount of sum for their loved ones beyond themselves, they start an SIP and start investing on a monthly basis that, okay, 2% of my monthly savings is gonna go into my grandchildren's accounts. The most I would say appropriate way would be that you earmark certain amount, that this is the amount, that this is the percentage of my overall assets that I accumulate, which will be passed on to my next generation, and build the wealth and let the wealth grow. Write a will that this much of a percentage shall go to my grandchildren in this manner. And now with January directive, I think nomination will become a better tool to pass on this wealth to their children. But long-term wealth creation through SIP in equity mutual funds is one of the best ways to create wealth for your next generation.
Fantastic. Thank you, ma'am, for that and for setting the context. Mr. Popat, now coming to you, the importance of estate planning comes out in something, a four-letter word called a will. The importance of making a will, and how easy or difficult is it to make a will?
So let me put it this way. We have been growing with career and investment and saving and multiplying the investments, and at the end what to do about this wealth, okay? So when we discuss about this type of topics with the various people, they come out with the list of the 25-30 type of assets, which include their movables, immovables, business assets, their things like copyright, patents, and so many things. So we have to understand that how big is the portfolio and what they want to do later on. So basically, the thing is that they are listing out something on a piece of paper that this is the asset I am owning, so that tomorrow the family doesn't have to do a treasure hunt, or it doesn't go to the government, like crores of rupees is going to government. Secondly, my wishes, that I want to give it in this fashion. Now, these two things is very important in a will document. Without this, the family will be confused. So, as far as will goes, this is the two important thing one has to understand, that this is a list of the asset and also the wishes. Now, without that, everybody will be confused. Everybody will have to depend on the law, how to collect this asset, how to distribute within them, whether there is equal or there is a fight. Okay. Right. So, will document is a very simple, my asset, my wishes, and that way you can reduce so many pains for the family, and also a direction to them that what to be done. Will can be changed many number of times, so that's not that today you are writing something, tomorrow you can change. It's something like that. It's very important document for a family. We do like lot many things for planning, tax planning, insurance planning, medical and planning, many things. This is also one of the plan in the goal setting mode. That okay, what is the goal ultimately, where it should go as a next generation. Okay, so this is where it is very important, and people are nowadays has got aware of. Developed countries has been doing this for last 3-4 decades. In India, last 1 decade we have been doing this advocacy, and I think a lot of warm in their market, and people are now coming up and discussing on this. So it's a good sign. But I think the way we are saying that mutual fund sahi hai, we want to say will jaruri hai, and it is for each household, and that is where we want to do our advocacy.
Superb. Mr. Popat, I'll come back to you on those couple of points on that. But before that, Renu ma'am, just continuing from your first answer, when we were talking about mutual funds, estate planning, of course, is a long-term goal. So what kind of mutual funds can be considered for this goal?
For long-term goals, equity investment gives you the best results. So, just keep putting your money into equity mutual funds, and you will get very good returns. What do we do practically, and how does it work? What happens is when the markets are volatile and we see our equity investments crashing suddenly by 10%, 20%, 30%, we lose our nerves and try to liquidate the money and try to salvage the money, so to say. That is where we say that, okay, don't keep it in 100% equity portfolio. Have a managed portfolio where there is some portion of money in debt funds as well, which keeps, and little bit of an active management fund, actively managed portfolio can help you give stabilized returns. So that would be the ideal way of doing it. That means have your managed portfolio to create long-term wealth. Now, everyone doesn't end up doing that. Everyone doesn't have the bandwidth to get hold of a fiduciary advisor to do that. In that case, what they should do is keep investing in Nifty 50 or BSE 30. Over a period of a decade or 2 decades, you will make extremely good money. Sometimes those numbers also look unbelievable. So if we do the calculations of what people would have made if they started investing in 2001 or 2002 or 2005 to now, 2025, that means over 2 decades, the numbers are unbelievable. So if you want to keep it simple, the best thing is index investment on a regular basis, on a monthly basis, without getting perturbed with the movements of the market.
Absolutely, ma'am, because, that's where sometimes people start, but they get jittery because the markets are up and down, and it's more about the time in the market. And I think, ma'am, that's where the role of an advisor plays a very important role, because kind of guiding the person. So, Mr. Popat, like ma'am was also saying about an advisor can, having a fiduciary advisor helps you manage your portfolio better. Similarly, for writing a will, one option, I can do it myself. 2, I can go online and look at resources. But then looking at going to a lawyer, paying the lawyer's fees, because very often people feel, why should I pay the lawyer for this? I mean, khud hi bana dunga will. So what's your guidance? How do you guide people on this important point?
Right, Sumit. So yeah, I think going to lawyer is not compulsory. As we say that will writing is simple, but for hygiene purpose, one has to do it. For example, if somebody is unwell, somebody has a stomach issue, either he can take medicine from home, mummy or dadiji says he will take, or he will go to MBBS doctor nearby, or he will go to MD. Depending upon his wishes, he will select this choice, and that's called hygiene. You are taking a risk if you are taking something at home. Maybe there is a complication, maybe something is right or wrong, but it is sometimes also, you can cure it. So it is depending upon the user to decide which one they want to take.
So that is where, again, because, I personally feel sometimes people think it's like being penny wise, pound foolish, because they say we won't pay for the service, but then whatever it is, your lakhs or your crores of money is riding on that one will at the end of the day.
Absolutely, Sumit, because we are seeing that wealth of 2 to 5 crore, 10 crore is very easy now. All the wills that we make, we see so much of wealth. And they just try to procrastinate or argue for 5,000-10,000 rupees, which is just a one meal of the family.
Yeah.
And why one has to do, I don't know. And this is something penny wise pound foolish is correctly being done by all of them, which is not correct, and they have to really understand this. You are paying to your tax advisor, your advisors, your wealth advisor, everybody. Then why not do this? This is actually bouquet of all the asset.
Correct.
That is only one of the asset that you are paying for advisor, and here is something you are taking care of the whole bouquet of your assets.
In association with Motorola Razr 50 Ultra with Google Gemini.
In association with HSBC Mutual Fund, opening up a world of opportunity.
Journalism is a mission, not just to seek accountability or a fight for justice, but for honesty and integrity. Voicing citizens' concerns and using the truth to demand answers, ensuring that you come first on agenda. Watch News on Agenda with me, Maludas Gopalakrishnan, weeknights at 10 o'clock only on Times Now.
जहाज में बड़ी बड़ी चीजें जाते हैं ना पापा?
बड़े बड़े सपने भी जाते हैं।
ये क्या लोकल चीजें देख रहे हो? तुम्हारे लिए मैं अच्छे वाला लेके देती हूँ, इंपोर्टेड वाला। आजा।
So, this is the shop I was telling you about.
नमस्ते। I love those. हाँ मैं पैक कर दूँ।
Need 10,000. अमेरिका भिजवाने हो जाएगा ना?
हो जाएगा।
हम सिर्फ देश विदेश में व्यापार नहीं बढ़ाते हैं,
आपके बड़े बड़े सपने जा रहे हैं।
सपनों को किनारे तक पहुंचाते हैं। अदानी, हम करके दिखाते हैं।
Wow, yeah, you're so cool. Even I feel like doing something. If you feel like it, then do it. I barely get time after housework, and I've only studied till 10th.
You can join LIC's Bima Sakhi Yojana.
I can become an LIC agent?
Complete training from them. You'll also get a monthly stipend.
Stipend also.
And a commission too.
To join LIC's Bima Sakhi Yojana, visit your nearest LIC branch. LIC Bima Sakhi Yojana. Your start, your way.
ग्लोबल इन्वेस्टर्स समिट 2025 भोपाल। मध्य प्रदेश में फार्मा सेक्टर को प्लांट और मशीनरी पर होने वाले 10 करोड़ से लेकर 1,500 करोड़ रुपए तक के निवेश पर 40 से लेकर 10% की निवेश संवर्धन सहायता मिलती है। इन्हें 10 करोड़ रुपए सालाना के सावधि ऋण पर 10 साल के लिए 5% ब्याज अनुदान भी मिलता है। निर्यातोन्मुख फार्मा इकाइयों को 25 से 75% निर्यात मूल्य पर 1 से लेकर 1.2 गुना के बराबर इंसेंटिव और रोजगार सृजन के लिए 40% अतिरिक्त निवेश सब्सिडी मिलती है।
मुझे इस बात की प्रसन्नता है, मध्य प्रदेश में 275 फार्मा यूनिट स्थापित है। प्रदेश में 160 से अधिक देशों को दवाएं निर्यात हो रही है। दवा निर्यात करने में मध्य प्रदेश का स्थान चौथा है।
फार्मा सेक्टर को प्रदूषण रोधी प्लांट पर 50% या 1 करोड़ रुपए तक अनुदान मिलता है। इन्हें स्टैंप ड्यूटी और रजिस्ट्रेशन फीस पर छूट के अलावा पेटेंट शुल्क पर 5 लाख रुपए तक प्रतिपूर्ति मिलती है। बिजली, पानी और पहुंच मार्ग के लिए भी इन्हें 50% की दर से 1 करोड़ रुपए तक ढांचागत विकास सहायता मिलती है। नए HT कनेक्शन पर 5 से 10 साल तक विद्युत शुल्क पर छूट और 5 साल तक बिजली भी 1 रुपया यूनिट सस्ती मिलती है। इस तरह डॉक्टर मोहन यादव सरकार की प्रोत्साहन नीतियों ने राज्य को और निवेश अनुकूल बनाया है।
For an India that's chasing its dreams, this is the drive of your dreams. Introducing the all-new Skoda Kailak. Own your dream.
Skoda.
हो जा रंगीला रे with Motorola's incredible range of smartphones.
Hello, Moto.
Renu ma'am, just coming to you, what are some important points that people need to keep in mind when managing their finances for their loved ones for when they are gone? As a financial planner, what's some guidance that you give to clients?
See, one one major thing is that you need to be clear, at least to a great extent, you should be clear what do you want to do for whom after you are not there, and who needs what. The biggest thing which we feel, what a lot of times people miss out on is that they say, okay, I'll give this piece of land to one child and I'll give this bit of equity to my another child. And sometimes when the land appreciates more and the equity doesn't appreciate, or vice versa, by the time the person is no more or is leaving the world, children feel dejected and feel that the parents have been partial. So this is something which we, on a behavioral front, we advise our clients a lot, that keep in mind that you are clear about what you want to do for which child or whosoever you are doing, and also be clear with them that this is what we are doing. Keep it open, do not keep it under wraps, because after the demise, it's only misunderstanding which is left behind and nothing else. So even while creating assets, especially in financial assets, we do recommend that if you have two children and you want to give 50-50% to both of them, don't earmark schemes for them. Just make them the nominee in all your schemes or all your financial assets, and give a directive of 50-50 division. With the new nomination rules, I'm sure that it will become easier for the children to claim those assets. And but yes, the investors should keep that in mind, that they should be very clear about what they want to do, why they want to do, and the people for whom they want to do it are aware of all these things.
Absolutely. This is most important, because the person's wishes have to come out in that pieces of paper to be clear about it from their end, and therefore it will be clear to the family also. Mr. Popat, one concern that people might feel, that let's assume there's somebody who's in their 30, 35 years old person, and he or she decides to write a will. But things change, like some people get married, they have one child, they might have a second child. Sometimes they even might feel that, listen, sometimes you feel that, okay, I want to give more to someone and less to someone. What's the legal way to bring about a change in your will, and how, is there a limited amount of times you can do it, or you can do it as many times as you want? Please guide us on that.
So practically one can say that one can change the will every day. That's not a problem. How we normally tell the people that, okay, make a will maybe at a 35 age, when you have a family now, you have some asset, okay? So it's like doing any insurance, life insurance policy at that age, or you are doing some medical planning. Okay, that is the time you should start thinking that at least one piece of paper should be there, that how much wealth I want to give to my spouse or my kids or whoever way. Thereafter, you can review every 3 years. The will that we normally propose, it covers the future assets, also the residual assets. So if the one doesn't change at all in the life, and the ratio they want to keep same, no worry. Even at the age of 80, if they die, this is fine. But it is always better to review at 3 years' time. What are your wishes, whether there is any change? What are the assets, if any change? So these are or family members much have gone and up, whatever is happening. So to avoid the complication in the will, one can review and you can make a change at that time, make a fresh will. And whichever is the old one, it get cancelled, treated as cancelled.
That is important. But of course, if there's that residual clause in there, so then also people are rest assured that even if I've not added an asset to that will, it will still be covered.
Correct. So residual clause is for something you have missed. You should actually mention most of the asset. That is for the good guidance. But if you miss something, you have your pet dog, you have some electronic, you have got some books, royalty, you don't have to mention. If you have not mentioned, then you can consider the residual asset.
Perfect, perfect. Renu ma'am, one concern also becomes, and you touched upon it in your earlier answer, is when the family doesn't know about, A, they don't know about the assets, B, they might not even know about the will. So a person has made the will, but he's not told his spouse or his children about it. How do you guide them? How do you guide people to share this information, what's the right way to share it, and just how, so that it's just easier when the need is required?
So see, this is a very practical problem, because a lot of times parents or older people do not want to divulge all their wealth to the younger ones for fear of abuse or whatever you call it. I mean, that's a very human emotion. So we usually, when we talk to our clients about their estate planning and estate management issues, we talk about 2-3 things very actively. One is also have a backup, not only for when you are not there, but also if you are incapacitated and you can't take decisions for yourself. And second is, if you do not want to divulge the whole information to your children, with your children, at least have someone in the family or friends whom you can trust. You can also probably nominate them as an executor for the will, or just tell your children or write a note and keep it for them to have an easy access when you are not there, to connect with that person and get the details. So one way is to keep all your data in a secured place. DigiLocker is one of those ways to do it. Your family financial advisor and fiduciary advisor is another one who is doing your holistic planning and investment management, where all your data can be there. And you share it with your children that this is the place where you can go to get all the information. Second is, if you are not comfortable doing that, keep it in a paper form, tabulate the information, keep the diary in your locker, but make sure that your family is aware, or make an arrangement that your family can be made aware of in case of some eventuality.
Very important, ma'am. Very important points raised there. Mr. Popat, I'll come to you on a very important point that was also just mentioned, the executor. There is sometimes a lot of confusion that in the will, there is the executor, there is beneficiary. So can the executor and the beneficiary be same, or they have to be separate individuals?
So executor per se, it is not mandatory, but it is always a good practice to keep an executor who get a legal power to distribute the asset as per your wishes, efficiently and impartially. So that is where the executor role comes in place if you are appointed. Now, appointing executor outsider may be a risk that he may not have time, he may not do properly. So always we suggest that you can keep a beneficiary as an executor, a beneficiary who is good in their knowledge about this type of thing, they are impartial to the family and they can do efficiently. So it is always, we recommend that you keep beneficiary as the executor instead of keeping a third person.
Right. Okay, so that's also a very important part of this, because in the eventuality at the end, there is somebody who has to execute it, distribute the assets impartially as per the wishes of the person. That's very important. So, Renu ma'am, you know, one important point that I'd like to get your insights on. So, while this SEBI's directive will definitely be of great help, but the importance of nominees, the importance of having nominees in your mutual fund folios, in your demat accounts, in your bank accounts, can you shed some more light on that also, please?
Yes, so this is the most important thing to happen, to be taken care of while making the investment. As a matter of fact, even before the directives from SEBI have come, and even before we started talking with the regulator on these things, we, in our own practice, we made sure that right on day one, while we are filling up the forms and the investment is being done, we make sure that nominations are there in place right on day one. And when there are young investors, obviously, they do feel that, few of them do feel that, you know, what's the logic behind my keeping a nomination? You know, I mean, I'm going to be here and I'm going to be using this money. But we do stress upon two things. One is creating wealth and managing wealth and growing wealth. Second part is managing the downside risk of financial risks. That means if something happens within the family or within the environment or the ecosystem, where you can be heard financially. Just let us put things in place so that our loved ones who are left behind are taken care of. Or even if we are still alive and we are there, we should be taken care of with our own money. So nominations is a very, very important part right over there. God forbid something happens to a youngster and there is no nominee in the assets that he has created. He himself will not be able to use it, and his loved ones who are left behind and whose life has to be taken care of will also not be able to use those assets with ease, if I would put it like that. I mean, they may eventually get it through lots of troubles and tribulations and going through various agencies, etc. But the whole purpose of having money is lost. So nomination, creating a will, creating a pathway for the wealth to flow beyond you is as important as creating wealth. Whatever may be the age and stage of life, this is as important as investment. Because if your investment cannot be used for what you want it to for, then there is no use of investment.
Absolutely, very well put, Renu ma'am. But I would have loved to have a longer conversation, but we are just running out of time. So thank you, Renu ma'am, for being a part of this. Thank you, Jatin sir, for being here. Thank you to our viewers for watching this special episode of Mutual Fund Sahi Hai presents Smart Nivesh Sahi Nivesh, partnered by Times Network. And I hope you're taking back some important points here, because while you're investing for the future and for the future of your loved ones, do ensure that that future is secure by doing the right kind of estate planning. Thank you so much for watching.